My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I've been a 911 dispatcher for 17 years. 17 years listening to people at the worst moment of their lives. Assaults, accidents, heart attacks, domestic violence. You'd think you'd seen and heard it all. I thought so too. But there's one call that sticks in my mind. Actually, there are two calls. Two calls that challenge everything I thought I knew about reality. Two calls that made me question whether I'm still sane, if I ever was. I recorded this testimony because I need to get this out of my system. Because if I don't tell someone, I'll go crazy. And because maybe you need to know. Maybe you'll be the next one to answer this call. It all started on an October night. Tuesday, midnight shift. The kind of night that's just too calm, you know? That calm that makes you restless, as if the city were holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. And then the phone rang. It was 2:47 a.m. when the line went live. I answered on the second ring, as I always do. 911, what is your emergency? Silence. But not the empty silence of a deadline. It was a silence vivo. I could hear breathing. Small. Scared. Hello? Can you hear me? I asked, adjusting the headset. Is everything okay? Are you in danger? And then the voice came. A childish voice, thin as glass about to shatter. There's someone in my house. My training kicked in immediately. Child in danger. Possible trespasser. Code red. Okay, honey. I'll help you. What's your name? Sarah. Sarah, are you hiding? Are you in a safe place now? I'm in the bedroom closet, but I hear footsteps. He's looking for me. My fingers were already on the keyboard, tracing the call. The address appeared on the screen. 1604 Willow Street. Something was wrong. The system marked the address in red. Location not verified flashed on the screen. Sarah, listen. I'm going to send help right now. Can you tell me what you see through the crack in the closet? A low, stifled cry, as if she were trying to be silent. It's dark, but there are shadows moving, and the footsteps, they don't stop. They just walk all over the house, like they're looking for something. Is the person there someone you know? Is he, she part of your family? It's not a person. The words froze me for a second. Scared kids say strange things, I knew that, but there was something in her tone. It wasn't hysteria. It was certainty. Sarah, the police are on their way, okay? Stay on the line with me. Don't hang up. He knows I called. Her voice dropped even lower, almost a whisper. He's coming. I hear him at the bedroom door. And then, in the background of the call, I heard it. A sound that shouldn't have been there. A slow shuffling, like something heavy being dragged across the floor, and breathing. Deep, wet. Sarah. Sarah. The line was silent for 3 seconds. 3 eternal seconds. And then, a scream. High-pitched, cut in half, and the line went dead. My fingers were shaking as I dispatched the call. Unit 23, respond to a possible break-in in progress with a child in danger. 1604 Willow Street, Code 3. Agent Ramirez's voice came over the radio, calm and professional. Unit 23 confirming en route with partner Cole. ETA 3 minutes. Ramirez was a veteran, 15 years on the street. If there was anyone I trusted to handle a situation like this, it was him. Cole was younger, only 2 years on the force, but he had a good reputation. But that address, that damned address, I kept trying to check the system. Willow Street existed, but number 1604? Nothing. The map showed the street ended at 1590. After that, there was only forest. Dispatcher, this is Unit 23. Ramirez's voice returned. We're approaching the location, but are you sure of the address? That's what the system tracked. What are you seeing? A pause. Static on the line. There's a house here, but it shouldn't be here. This area is an environmental preservation area. No structure should exist there. My heart started beating faster. House description. Old structure. 2 stories. Rotting wood. Broken windows. Cole, activate your body camera. Dispatcher, are you receiving the video feed? I glanced at my secondary monitor. The image began to load. Pixels slowly formed. The connection was bad. When the image finally stabilized, I saw the house. God, that house. It was as if someone had plucked a building from a nightmare and dropped it into the middle of the forest. The wood wasn't just old, it was wrong black in places, with stains that looked organic, like mold growing in slow motion. The windows didn't reflect the light from the police officers' flashlights. They just swallowed it, like dead eyes. Unit 23, proceed with extreme caution, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Child possibly still inside. Possible armed suspect. Copied. Paste. Left. I'll go right. Through the camera, I saw Ramirez approach the front door. It was ajar. Not forced. Just open. Like an invitation or a trap. Police. We're coming in. Ramirez's camera entered first. The inside of the house was impossible. Not in the sense of being just old or abandoned. It was impossible in the sense that it didn't obey the basic laws of physics. The entryway seemed to stretch far beyond the house's exterior. The walls were covered in floral wallpaper, but the flowers moved. No, they didn't move. They pulsed, as if they were breathing. Dispatcher, do you see this? Cole's voice was strained. I see. Stay calm. Look for the child. Through the radio, I could hear their footsteps echoing, but the echoes were wrong. They were coming from all directions at once. And among the echoes, other sounds, whispers, distant laughter, the shuffling I'd heard on the call. Sarah, Ramirez called. Sarah, if you can hear me, shout. We're here to help you. Nothing. They climbed the stairs. Each step groaned, not like old wood, like bones breaking. The camera began to show interference. Red lines cut across the image, pixels dancing. Dispatcher, we're losing transmission, Cole said. Negative. Reception is good on my side. Continue. They reached the second floor. There were 4 doors, all closed, all identical, except for one thing. One of them had scratches, deep marks, as if something with claws had tried to get out or enter. Cole, you cover that one. I'll go with this one. Ramirez approached the door with the scratches. He placed his hand on the handle. Even through the grainy video, I saw his hand tremble. He opened the door. The room was a child's, or had been, faded pink wallpaper, a small bed with sheets stained with something dark, toys strewn across the floor, dolls with missing heads, teddy bears without eyes, building blocks forming patterns that hurt the eyes to look at. And in the corner, a closet. Sarah, are you there? Ramirez approached the closet. His partner entered the room behind him, covering the corners. Cole, do you see the pictures on the wall? The camera turned. There were picture frames hanging, but when the light hit them, I saw something that made my blood run cold. They were pictures of Ramirez and Cole, photos of them wearing the same uniforms, in the same house, in the same room, but the photos were old, yellowed, as if they were decades old. What the fuck? Cole recoiled. How is that possible? Dispatcher, are you? Transmission failed. Unit 23, Ramirez, Cole, static. Unit 23, respond. For 10 seconds, just static. And then, as if someone had adjusted a dial very slowly, Ramirez's voice returned. But it wasn't his voice, not completely. It was as if someone was imitating him, speaking through him. She's not here. Ramirez? Where is the child? She was never here. What do you mean? Explain your situation. A laugh, low, guttural, coming from a throat that wasn't human. You don't understand. She was never here because she ain't here. The house. She and the house. And now we are 2. Ramirez, are you compromised? Do you need medical support? But the voice that answered wasn't Ramirez's. It was Cole's. But it was coming from Ramirez's radio. We've always been here. You've always sent us here. And we'll always be here. It's a loop, you know? An eternal loop. And now, the transmission cut out and never came back. The rescue team arrived on the scene 17 minutes later. 8 police officers, 2 sniffer dogs, a helicopter with a spotlight. They found nothing. Not only did they not find Ramirez and Cole, they didn't find the house. There were no structures at 1604 Willow Street, only trees. Old trees that looked as if they hadn't been disturbed in decades. The dogs picked up no scent. The helicopter detected no heat signature. It was as if Ramirez and Cole had simply vanished. evaporated. But the recordings existed. Body cameras had transmitted them. I had the files. The researchers analyzed them frame by frame. The house was there, the photos were there, everything was there, but physically, nothing. For 3 days, the search continued. For 3 days, I barely slept. When I closed my eyes, I saw that house, those black windows, those impossible hallways. And then, on the evening of the 4th day, I got another call. It was 2:47 in the morning, exactly the same time. I answered automatically, 911, what is your emergency? Static, heavy breathing, and then, please help me. It was Ramirez's voice. Ramirez, where are you? What is your location? I don't know. I'm in the house. I'm still in the house. But it keeps changing. The rooms move. The doors lead to different places every time. And there's something here with us. Something that keeps watching us. Ramirez, listen to my voice. You need to get out of this house. Find a way out and... There are no exits, he yelled. Every door we open leads to another room in the house. The windows don't break. And Cole is different. He keeps saying we've been here before, that we've never left, that we've always been here. I'll send teams again, No! The terror in his voice was palpable. I don't send anyone, this is what it wants. The house wants more. It feeds on us, on our memories, on our time. I looked in the mirror here, I'm old, my hair is gray, my hands are wrinkled, but it's only been 3 days, right? Right? Ramirez, calm down. You're in shock. Let's get you out of there. No, you won't. Because I'm looking out the window right now and I see the rescue teams. I see the spotlights, but they don't see me. It's like I'm in another place, another time. And his voice broke. And I saw you coming, wearing a police uniform. And you came into the house looking for someone, looking for us. And then I understood. This will happen again, and again, and again. It's a cycle, an eternal cycle. And there's no way out because there was never a way in. We've always been here, and you will too. The line went dead. I tried to track it. I tried to call back. Nothing. But I knew it was real. Because when they checked the phone records, the call was there. Recorded, time-stamped. Coming from a number that no longer existed. From Ramirez's personal cell phone, which was in the police station drawer along with his personal belongings. Off. 6 months later, I should have requested a transfer. I should have walked out of that office and never returned. But I didn't, because part of me needed to know, needed to understand. So I kept going. I kept answering calls. I kept pretending that night was just a freak incident, a glitch in the system, a collective hallucination. But I knew the truth. Ramirez and Cole's cases were officially classified as missing on duty under unclear circumstances. Their families held memorial services without bodies. Their names were engraved on the police station's memorial, and life went on. Until that April night, Tuesday midnight shift, exactly 6 months after the first call. The phone rang at 2:47 in the morning. My hand hesitated over the button, because I knew. Even before I answered, you knew. 911, what is your emergency? There's someone in my house. The same voice, the same intonation, the same child. Sarah. But Sarah never existed. The search found no record of a child named Sarah living in the area. No missing child reports. Nothing. My hands were sweating. My heart was hammering against my ribs. What's your address? I didn't need to ask. I already knew. Rua Willow, 1604. Of course. Sarah, listen. I'm going to send help. He's coming. I hear the footsteps. I know, honey, I know. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Dispatching the call meant sending more police. It meant condemning more people to this place. But ignoring meant, what? Letting the call echo into the void. Letting the cycle continue without witnesses. I had to know. I had to understand what was happening. Then I did something I shouldn't have done. Something that violated all protocol. I picked up my personal cell phone and called 2 specific officers directly. Miller and Torres. Good officers. But more importantly, they knew about Ramirez and Cole. I'd spoken to them about the case. Off the record. Miller, this is the dispatcher. I need you and Torres to do something for me. Something irregular. 30 minutes later, Miller and Torres were parked at the Willow Street entrance, both equipped with high-definition body cameras, both with extra GPS trackers. We both knew exactly what they were looking for, and what they found. The house was there, exactly as in the recordings, exactly as Ramirez had described. Dispatcher. Miller's voice had a tremor he tried to hide. The house. It's here, but there's something wrong with it. It throbs. Credit. It's like breathing. The walls. They rise and fall slightly, like lungs. Torres cut the transmission. There's something else. There's a car parked out front. A police car, number 23, Ramirez's vehicle. That's impossible, I said. That car is in the police station's storage room. Well, here it is. And there are footprints in the dirt, leading to the door. Police boot prints. Fresh. They looked at each other. I saw it through the cameras. Come in, I said, but keep in constant communication. If anything strange happens, you leave immediately. Copied. They approached the door. As before, it was ajar, as it always would be. But this time, something was different. There was a message written on the door, in something red. Something that looked like blood. Welcome back. The interior was identical to the recordings. The impossible hallway, the pulsating wallpaper, the wrong sounds. But there were additions. On the walls, there were more photos now. Dozens of them, hundreds of them, all of them showing police officers. Different uniforms, different decades, but all in the same house. All with the same expressions of frozen terror. How many people? Torres didn't finish the sentence. They climbed the stairs. Each step groaned. But now, among the groans, there were whispers, barely intelligible words. Help! I can't get out. How long? Years. They reached the second floor. The 4 doors were still there, but now there was writing on them. In the first, Ramirez. On Monday, Cole. In the third, Miller. On Wednesday, Torres. What the fuck? Miller recoiled. Get out, I said into the radio. Get out now. But it was too late. The door with Miller's name on it opened by itself, and on the other side, in the absolute darkness, something moved. Miller? A voice called from the dark room. A familiar voice. Miller, is that you? Thank God, get me out of here, please. It was Ramirez's voice. Ramirez? Miller stepped closer. Are you alive? Where's Cole? Here. I'm here. We've been here for... How long? I don't know anymore. The days blend together. But I heard you coming. I heard it in the hallways. The house. It showed me. It showed me you coming. Like you always do. What are you talking about? Miller entered the room. His camera adjusted to low light, and I saw Ramirez, or what was left of it. He was sitting in the corner of the room. His uniform was in tatters. His hair, once dark brown, was completely white. His skin was like parchment paper, and his eyes were completely black. Ramirez? Miller stepped closer. What happened to you? Time, Ramirez said, his voice echoing strangely. Time happened. Decades. Inside this house, time is different. It's fluid. We live the same hours over and over, the same moments. And each repetition takes a little more from us, until there's nothing left. Just the echo. It doesn't make sense. You disappeared 6 months ago. Ramirez laughed, a dry, cracking sound. 6 months for you? For me? 60 years. Maybe more. I've stopped counting. Torres appeared in the doorway behind Miller. We have to leave now. But as he turned to leave, the door closed and locked it. No. Torres ran to the door, pulling on the handle. No. Open! It won't open, Ramirez said calmly. It never does. The house has decided. You're next. Miller pointed his gun at Ramirez. You're going to get us out of here. Now. I can't. No one can. Don't you understand? You are already here. You always have been. I saw you. I saw your pictures on the walls when I arrived. Just like you saw mine. Because for the house, time doesn't exist. Past, present, future. It all happens at the same time. We are all here. We always have been. We always will be. And then Ramirez stood up, and I saw that he had no shadow. The house wants me to give you a choice, he said. The same choice they gave me. You can try to fight. Try to find a way out. Spend decades wandering the halls, growing older, weaker, until there's nothing left but a whisper in the walls. Or you become part of the house. You accept it. You merge with it. And then time doesn't matter anymore. Pain doesn't matter anymore. You simply exist. Eternally. Miller shot. The bullet passed through Ramirez. Literally, as if he were made of smoke. I've already made my choice, Ramirez said. Now make yours. And he disappeared. He simply ceased to exist. Through the cameras, I watched Miller and Torres try to get out. They broke the window, but on the other side was just more room. They tried to break down the door, it became a wall. They tried the trapdoor in the ceiling, it led to the basement. The house wouldn't let them leave, but I was seeing something they weren't, because I had access to all the cameras. And I saw something strange. There was a pattern on the walls, on the pulsating wallpapers. It wasn't just decoration. It was code, symbols, a language. I started taking screenshots, zooming in, trying to decipher, and slowly, horribly, I began to understand. The house wasn't just a house. It was a prison, but not for the cops. They were just bait, fuel. The house was holding something back, something ancient, something that existed outside of normal time. And it used people, their memories, their emotions, their lifetimes as prison bars. Each person who entered fed the prison, strengthened the bars, and in return, the imprisoned entity granted the house its impossible nature, its ability to exist in multiple times simultaneously. It was a system, a parasitic system, and it had been running for how long? The photos on the walls showed uniforms from decades ago, from a century ago. Miller, I yelled into the radio. Torres, you need to stop trying to get out. What the fuck do you mean? Miller replied. He was panting. They had been running through the corridors for hours now, or minutes. Time had no meaning. Every time you try to leave, you feed the house. The frustration, the fear, the despair, that's what it feeds on. You need to stop. You need to accept. Accept? Accept what? That you can't go out fighting. You have to go out by not going out. I know how it sounds. Nonsense. Zen nonsense. But it made sense in the twisted logic of that place. Sit down, I said. Wherever you are, sit down and stop. You've gone crazy. Do it. Maybe it was my voice. Maybe it was the desperation in it. But they did. They sat on the hallway floor and waited. And slowly, the house began to change. The walls stopped pulsing. The whispers grew louder, not threatening, but curious, as if the house were in turmoil. What's going on? Torres whispered. You stopped feeding her, I said. You stopped being afraid, and fear is what she needs. It's what keeps the system going. For 5 minutes, they sat, just breathing, calming their hearts. And then, impossible but true, a door appeared. It wasn't there before, but now it was. A door unlike any other, simple, made of light wood, and through the small window in it, I could see daylight. Go, I said, quickly, before she changes her mind. They ran. They went through the door, and they left. They went out into the woods, into the real world, to Willow Street. The house was still behind them, but when they turned to look, she was falling apart, not physically, but conceptually, as if she were being erased from reality. The pixels of reality were deconstructing, and for a moment, just a moment, I saw through the cameras. I saw what was inside, what was always inside. He was a child, no Sarah. Sarah never existed, but the child existed. A child in a room, alone, eternally alone, and she just wanted company, so she created the house. She created the calls. She created the whole system, because loneliness is the worst prison of all. And then she disappeared, and the house with her. Miller and Torres were found by rescuers 3 hours later, disoriented, confused, but alive. When questioned, their stories matched. right down to the impossible details. But when did they return to the site? Nothing. No houses, no structures, just trees. The camera footage was analyzed. It was there, every moment documented, but the files were corrupted in strange ways. Glitches that formed those same symbols, that same language. Ramirez and Cole were never found. And me? I should have been relieved. Case solved, as far as possible. 2 agents saved. An unexplained phenomenon apparently over. But 3 days later, something happened. I was reviewing the files, trying to understand, trying to process, and I found something. An older file, much older, from 12 years ago. A 911 call. Same time, 2:47 in the morning. There's someone in my house. The same child, the same Sarah, and the attendant's response. It was my voice. My voice 12 years ago. But I didn't work here 12 years ago. I started 17 years ago. Yes, but I've never answered a call like that. I would remember, wouldn't I remember? I kept researching. Older and older files. 20 years ago, same call, my voice. 30 years ago, my voice. 40 years ago. The call has always been there, and I have always answered it. But that's impossible. I'm only 42 years old. Unless I'm right about time, about how it works in that place. Unless I never escaped. Today is Tuesday midnight shift. It's 2:46 in the morning. In a minute, the phone will ring. It will be the same voice, the same child, the same request, and I will answer, because I always answer. But now I understand something I didn't understand before. I looked in the mirror today, really looked, and I saw what I didn't want to see. My hair is grayer than it should be. My skin has wrinkles that weren't there before. And my eyes are starting to darken around the edges. I never left the house. None of us left. Miller and Torres, they think they're out, but they still answer calls at the same station, still patrol the same streets, living the same days, over and over. And somewhere, in that house that no longer exists but always did, a lonely child is making another call, and another attendant will answer. Or maybe it's me again, because time means nothing here. The phone is ringing. It's 2:47 a.m. 911, what is your emergency? There's someone in my house. And so it begins again. It always starts over. And if you're listening to this recording, know this. If you work for 911, if you answer calls, beware. Beware of calls at 2:47 a.m. Beware of addresses that shouldn't exist. Beware of children's voices searching for someone who isn't there, because maybe you've already answered that call and maybe you never turned it off. Want more horror stories? If you were scared or fascinated by this story, I have a surprise for you. I prepared an ebook with 5 exclusive stories of supernatural 911 calls that have never been told on the channel. How to get your ebook? It's in the pinned comments below. Just click on the link, download, and dive even deeper into this horror universe. And don't forget, leave your like if the story gave you goosebumps. Comment. What was the scariest part? Activate the bell so you don't miss the next horror stories. Share with that friend who loves scary stories. See you next call. If you have the courage to answer, channel 911, where every call could be your last.